Hi, I think we can all agree that the main inconvenience of the lockdown is deprivation of freedom. We see deprivation of freedom as a punishment. We put criminals in jail. It's also something that we all experience. Right now, I think we all feel grounded, right? I mean, it's a strange feeling to have to justify to a policeman why you're going out. In Western Europe, the last war ended in 1945. The Berlin Wall fell in 1989. So most of us don't know how it feels to lose our freedom. Freedom is one of the pillars of our society. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948 states in its first article that all human beings are born free. Since World War II, our freedom increased with social and economic improvements. Cheap travel with low-cost companies, right to vote for women, and technology evolved exponentially. Smartphones and internet give unlimited access to information and a way to express yourself. In the last decades, it seems that the limits of our freedom evolved exponentially. There's almost nothing we can do, and suddenly we have to stay home. But I strongly believe that we can change our perspective on the lockdown for a positive change for ourselves. I started YouTube in February this year, and after 4 weeks of doing videos, the lockdown was announced in France, and the first questions that popped in my mind was, how can I keep making videos? Suddenly this lockdown became a challenge for my creative mind. I uploaded a video with a cinematic intro to challenge myself. I saw the deprivation of freedom as a creative constraint. What I mean is, for example, if I ask you to take a blank page of paper and to create something new, you'll think, yeah, okay, what do I create? So what I mean is that constraints will give you guidance, a foundation to create. We all need some kind of rules, some kind of guidance to create something. Artists have rules to create, even if these rules change all the time. Let's take Picasso, for example. After the suicide of his friend Carlos Casagemas, he was really sad and he painted for 3 years in the blue tones. And from 1909 to 1912, he was following other rules, the rules of Cubism. Even if he changed style, he was following rules, he was following constraints in both periods. The artistic movement who made constraints as a mean to an end is called Oulipo, Ouvroir de littérature potentielle. It means something like a workshop of potential literature. And this creative movement made a point to use constraints, very, very aggressive constraint, to create 2 examples. The first one, very famous, is a book written by Georges Perec, and the book is called in French La Disparition. It means disappearance. And in this novel, you don't have the letter E, the most common letter in the French language. And you have another example, Raymond Queneau, who is the co-founder of Oulipo. He wrote the same story in 99 different ways. So those are examples of artists who needed constraints to trigger their creative minds. And during this lockdown, we've already seen the effect of deprivation of freedom on people's creativity. People are clapping at their window every day in support to the medical staff. Family and friends rediscover video chats. Artists play live concerts from their home. And suddenly millions of people work remotely from home. All of this collective creativity to overcome one obstacle, deprivation of freedom, and to reach one goal, socializing, that we can do right now. How can you use this lockdown as a trigger for your creativity? I see 2 key problems to tackle if you want to succeed. The first one is habit change, and the second one is boredom. Obviously, your life is very different right now, and your habits and routines are completely gone. You're not going to university, you're not going to work, you're stuck home, and you have to reinvent your days and how you're planning your activities. I suggest that you watch Nathaniel Drew's video about boredom. He suggests that boredom can be a good thing. You shouldn't avoid it, you should use it intentionally. Boredom gives space to your mind to get ideas. Nathaniel points out that having ideas is just the first step, that you should put them in action. And I think that's when you need to address habit change at this point. Depending on your personality, boredom can be a rabbit hole to a rat. Nathaniel said himself, he's passionate about his work, he's drawn to his work, and he's been doing it for years. he has the discipline to do it. If you're like me, you probably lost your habits and routines, and you feel like you're living the same day over and over again. And I mean, we all have our weaknesses, right? For me, it's going on YouTube, watching videos for hours, it's scrolling my Twitter feeds. I can waste hours, days doing it. So without discipline, you need a plan, a safety net to make meaningful choices in your activities. You should always know what to do to be productive and to take some time off, to have some entertainment. So I suggest making a list of activities in 2 categories. Some activities will put you in a rut and make you lose track of time. For those, you should use a timer to keep yourself in check. And of course, you should use these activities intentionally. I will give you an example. When I edit my videos, I tend to do it during 2 or 3 hours. It can be a tedious work. I can lose track of time. So I put a timer for myself after an hour to just get up, change my scenery, go to another room. Everything I just said doesn't matter if you don't start. And that's when the lockdown has been for me very useful to trigger my creative process. Let me explain. If you want to create something, you need to start. And I tend to procrastinate a lot. When I was in school, what I could have done in weeks, I was doing in days, if not in hours, just before the due time. For life, you don't have a deadline. If you're starting your own project, you don't have anyone to tell you to just do it, to start. If you don't start, we should all be conscious about our deadline. We have all a common one. It's the end of our life.